Many Australians are grappling with the question, should I buy an electric vehicle? How do they know if an EV will suit their needs? Well, today we are showcasing a new service that lets you try an EV before you buy. For more, I'm joined by Chris Noon, the CEO at Carly Car Subscriptions. It's wonderful to have you with me. What a great idea. Let's talk about the current state of the EV market across Australia. Take us through what you've witnessed.
We're in the middle of a transition from internal combustion engine vehicles to newer forms of propulsion. And a lot of people saying that electric vehicles are a very big part of that. We're seeing a bit of media recently that maybe the switch to full electric vehicles maybe has slowed down a bit, and people are maybe opting for hybrid vehicles, that sort of in-between technology. So it's a little bit hard to tell at the moment what's happening in the market, because the sales figures measure deliveries of vehicles. And what we've seen in the last year or so is a lot of manufacturers, especially Toyota, which is one of the big players, has been playing catch up in delivering their vehicles after production delays, which were a hangover from COVID and shipping delays and the like that happened in the last year or so. And what we're seeing is pent-up demand for hybrids eventually being delivered, and that's clouding the sales figures. So what we really need to do is take a longer term view. We're seeing in states and territories such as the ACT, EVs were 20% of the market. But what I think we're seeing overall, a lot of people are really interested in buying an electric vehicle, but they've got a lot of questions, and a lot of people are sitting on the fence not knowing how to make a decision.
Yeah, very much so. So let's get a little bit of an overview to the barriers that are preventing more people from buying electric vehicles. We understand it's sort of the right way to be going, but what are the barriers?
It's all about knowledge. You know, when you're buying an electric vehicle, you're not buying your next car. You're actually investing in a whole new technology. There's a different way to power the car. You have to charge it. It's not a 4-minute fill-up like it is at the petrol station. It will take a longer period of time. You need to think about how you're using the vehicle, where you can charge it, whether you do it at home, at work, or using a fast public charger. You've got to think about whether you have solar, how expensive it will be for you. And you can't do this with just a 10-minute test drive, or even if the dealer gave you the vehicle overnight to test. You really need to be in an electric vehicle for a month or two to really understand all the pros and cons. You know, drive it to work for a few weeks, go away on a holiday, go away on some weekends away, use it in those usual circumstances you would use a car for the next few years. Then you can make a really informed decision about whether an electric vehicle is right for you, and also which particular model is right for you.
Well, just on that, do you manage to partner somebody up with an EV to test that is actually within their wheelhouse of operation in terms of what they might need, a personalised experience, if you will?
That's right. So we offer EV trials. So the first step of that, we have a very short 5-question survey. And this is for people who don't know what sort of EV they might want to drive. And we ask about what size they need, what charging capacity, how much they're likely to spend when they buy a vehicle. And we recommend the suggested EVs for them. Then they're allowed to subscribe to that electric vehicle for a month or more. It could be a fixed term subscription, or it could be a monthly recurring subscription. So typically people subscribe to the EVs for around 3 months. In that period of time, they're able to experience it in lots of different circumstances. And then at the end of the period, they can hand the car back, or they can keep subscribing. But with all that knowledge, they can then go and purchase an EV knowing that it's going to suit their needs, and they're not going to have any regret for the purchase.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very clever idea, especially the way the market is at the moment. And people actually do want to get involved in this, I feel. So is now a good time to buy an EV, do you think, based on what we're seeing? And of course, if somebody's interested in trying out you and the subscription service, where's the best avenue to do so?
So to try out EV trial, it's evtrial.com.au. In terms of, is this a great time to buy an EV? The answer is going to be very different for every single person. There are lots of tax breaks now with novated leases for electric vehicles, meaning there can be some quite large tax savings getting into an EV. We're also seeing a lot of manufacturers bringing in much lower priced vehicles. We now have electric vehicles with 5-star ANCAP rating, 7-year warranties for around $40,000. So it's getting into that price point where the majority of Australians who are considering a new car purchase could be looking at EV and saying it's actually quite cost effective to buy. Plus, there's also the potential for the massive savings on fuel and maintenance in the future as well.
Absolutely. Chris Noon, thank you so much for joining us on the program and telling us all about what's going on when it comes to the EV market. I think what you guys are doing is a very clever idea and hopefully gets more EVs on the road.
Thanks very much.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.